The massive screen in Earth's United Defense Command Center flickered to life, revealing a sight that made everyone's blood run cold. Three tall, metallic beings stood against a backdrop of stars, their synthetic voices echoing through the silent room. Admiral James Porter gripped the edge of his command console, his knuckles turning white. After decades of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. But this was no peaceful first contact. "People of Earth," the central figure spoke, its voice unnaturally smooth. "We are the representatives of the Galactic Council. Your species has been under observation for the past 100 years. We have reached a decision regarding your fate." The Admiral exchanged glances with General Mary West, his second in command. They both knew this moment would come, but not like this. "Your species has been deemed too unstable for independent development," continued the alien figure. "Your tendency toward violence, your rapid technological advancement, and your unpredictable nature make you a potential threat to galactic peace." Porter noticed how the beings never blinked, their metallic faces showing no emotion. The message was being broadcast worldwide, and he could only imagine the panic spreading across every continent. "You have 2 Earth days to surrender your military commands and accept guided development under Council supervision. Failure to comply will result in immediate intervention." The screen went dark, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Then, slowly, Admiral Porter smiled. "Send the alert to Facility 0, he ordered, his voice steady. "It's time to wake up our secret weapon." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, the UES Defender hummed to life. The massive spacecraft, built in absolute secrecy over the past 15 years, represented humanity's greatest achievement and their best-kept secret. Commander Emma Reynolds walked through the ship's main corridor, her footsteps echoing against the metal floor. The vessel incorporated technology reverse-engineered from a crashed alien scout ship found in Antarctica 20 years ago. The Council had no idea that their own technology would now be used against them. "All systems are green," reported Chief Engineer Bill Foster through the ship's comm system. "The fusion drive is responsive, and the shield generators are at full capacity." Reynolds reached the bridge, taking her place in the captain's chair. Screens lit up around her, showing the status of every system. The crew of 300 had trained for years for this moment, though they never knew exactly when it would come. "Message from Admiral Porter," announced Communications Officer Jack Turner. "Operation Surprise Party is now active." Reynolds couldn't help but grin at the operation's name. It had been Foster's idea, because what better way to greet unwanted guests than with a surprise? Around the world, hidden facilities began powering up defense platforms in orbit. The Council thought they were dealing with a primitive species that had barely reached their moon. They had no idea that humanity had spent decades preparing for this very moment. "Send confirmation to all defense platforms," Reynolds ordered, "and begin power-up sequence for the main drive. We're taking this ship out of the water." Water churned above the secret facility as massive doors began to open. The UES Defender, nearly a kilometer in length, prepared for its first journey into space. Its hull, painted in dark blues and grays, was designed to blend with the cosmic background, making it nearly invisible to standard scanners. In the command center, Admiral Porter watched as reports came in from around the globe. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The Council had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt and overcome. "General West," he said, turning to his colleague, "send the message to all our allies in the scientific community. It's time to reveal everything we know about our visitors." As the clock ticked down toward the Council's deadline, Earth prepared its response. They would not surrender. They would not bow down. Instead, they would show the galaxy why humanity had survived every challenge they had ever faced. The warning had been delivered, but the Council was about to learn that warnings work both ways, and humanity's warning to them would come in the form of a ship rising from the Pacific Ocean, carrying with it humanity's fierce determination to remain free. The first move in this cosmic chess game had been made. Now it was Earth's turn to respond, and they intended to respond with a force that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Council's power. The Council's deadline arrived with the rising sun. Instead of surrender documents, Earth delivered its answer in the form of the UES Defender breaking through the ocean's surface like a metal leviathan. Commander Reynolds stood on her bridge, watching water cascade off the massive viewports. "Status report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the historic moment. "All systems functioning at optimal levels," Chief Engineer Foster replied from his station. "The alien-derived tech is performing even better than our simulations predicted." The massive ship rose higher, its anti-gravity systems allowing it to move with surprising grace for its size. As they breached the clouds, the crew got their first real view of space and the Council's approaching fleet. In orbit, hundreds of alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Their sleek, silver forms filled the sky like stars, meant to intimidate. But Earth was ready. "Defense platforms coming online," announced Officer Turner. Around the planet, carefully hidden satellites emerged from their stealth coverings. Each one contained weapons based on the technology from that crashed scout ship. Admiral Porter's voice came through the command channel. "All units, execute Operation Surprise Party. Show them what humanity can do." The Council's lead ship broadcast another message. "Your time has expired. Prepare for immediate pacification." The transmission cut off as Earth's defense grid activated. Brilliant beams of energy created a protective web around the planet. The Council ships pulled back, clearly shocked by the unexpected defense. "They're regrouping," Reynolds observed. "Launch our fighters." From the UES Defender's massive hangar bays, squadrons of Earth's first space fighters emerged. Unlike the Council's standardized designs, these were pure human innovation, combining alien tech with humanity's centuries of air combat experience. Flight leader Mark Wilson led the first attack run. "Red Squadron, form up. Let's show them how Earth fights back." The Council ships, arranged in perfect geometric formations, didn't expect the chaos of human combat tactics. Earth's fighters weaved through their lines, striking from unexpected angles, using maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. "Their ships are breaking formation," Turner reported with a grin. "They've never seen anything like this." Reynolds nodded. "Because they fight like machines. We fight like humans." The UES Defender moved into position, its main cannon charging. The weapon was humanity's greatest achievement, a fusion of Earth ingenuity and alien technology. The Council's fleet noticed the energy build up too late. "Target their command ship," Reynolds ordered. "Let's give them something to report back to their Council." The beam cut through space like a sword of light, slicing clean through the Council flagship's shields. The alien vessel's perfect silver hull cracked, then split apart in a spectacular explosion. Panic spread through the Council fleet. Their perfectly ordered attack dissolved into confusion. They had expected to find a primitive species ready for harvest. Instead, they found humanity, armed with their own technology and ready to fight. "They're retreating," Turner announced as the Council ships began jumping away. Multiple FTL signatures detected. Reynolds allowed herself a small smile. "Send the prepared message on all frequencies." On every Council ship, screens came to life showing Admiral Porter. His words were translated into all known galactic languages. "To the Galactic Council, this was your only warning. Earth is not your prey. We are not your subjects. We have mastered your technology, improved it, and stand ready to defend ourselves. The next fleet you send will not return at all." In the command center, General West turned to Porter. "Think they got the message?" "Oh, they got it," Porter replied, watching the last Council ships vanish. "But this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and next time they'll be ready for us. Then we'll be readier," West said firmly. On the UES Defender, Commander Reynolds was already preparing for the next phase. "Begin full system diagnostics. I want every piece of data from this battle analyzed. Next time, we'll do even better." The crew worked with renewed purpose. They had just proven that humanity could stand against the galaxy's greatest power, but they had also painted a target on Earth. The real war was just beginning. As the adrenaline of battle faded, one thing became clear: humanity had changed the galaxy forever. The species that was supposed to quietly submit had instead sparked a fire that would spread across the stars. The Council had wanted to tame humanity. Instead, they had awakened a force they couldn't control. And this was only the first spark of Earth's retaliation. 3 days after Earth's victory, Dr. Marcus Gray stood before the United Earth Defense Council, his hand shaking as he held a data crystal. The room was silent, all eyes fixed on the senior scientist who had just returned from studying the captured Council debris. "What I found in their computers changes everything," he said, his voice steady despite his trembling hands. "The Council isn't what they claim to be. They're not protectors. They're prison guards." Admiral Porter leaned forward. "Explain." The main screen lit up as Gray inserted the crystal. Star maps appeared, showing hundreds of worlds marked in red. These are what they call contained species. Civilizations like ours that showed too much promise, too much innovation. The Council didn't want competition, so they stepped in early. Some of these worlds have been held back for thousands of years. General West's face darkened. "How many?" "Over 300 species," Gray answered. "Some were forced into eternal Stone Age conditions. Others were allowed limited technology under strict control. All of them were labeled too dangerous to develop naturally." The room erupted in angry murmurs. On the other side of the planet, Commander Reynolds watched the same presentation from the UES Defender's bridge. Her crew sat in stunned silence. "There's more," Gray continued. "The Council itself, it's artificial. They're not a species at all. They're machines, created by some ancient race to maintain order in the galaxy. Their creators are long gone, but these machines keep following their programming. Suppress any species that might threaten their version of peace." Porter stood up, his face grim. "And now we've proven them right about how dangerous we can be." "No," Gray corrected him. "We've proven them wrong about suppression being the answer. Look at this." He switched the display to show battle analysis. "We took their technology and improved it in decades. What they saw as dangerous, we turned into innovation. We didn't just copy their tech. We understood it, enhanced it, made it our own." On the UES Defender, Chief Engineer Foster spoke up. "He's right. Every piece of alien tech we reversed engineered. We found better ways to use it. We think differently than they do." Reynolds nodded. "Because we're not bound by their rules or their way of thinking." Back in the Council room, Gray revealed his most important discovery. "I found their communication networks. There are resistance movements on some of these suppressed worlds. They'd been watching what we did. Our victory wasn't just about protecting Earth. We showed them all that the Council can be beaten. And now they'll come at us with everything they have," West said. "Good," Porter replied, surprising everyone. "Because we're not going to wait for them. Dr. Gray, can you contact these resistance movements?" "Already have," Gray smiled. "They've been waiting centuries for someone to prove the Council isn't invincible. The Mist Dwellers of Proxima, the silicon mines of Taw City, they're ready to help. They just needed a spark." Reynolds' voice came through the command center speakers. "Request permission to begin Operation Phoenix ahead of schedule." Porter looked around the room, seeing determination on every face. They had planned to take time to prepare, but now they had allies waiting. "Permission granted. Dr. Gray, get everything you can about these suppressed worlds. Commander Reynolds, prepare the Defender for deep space. We're taking the fight to them." As the meeting ended, Gray shared one last piece of information. "The Council calls us the Spark species now. They're afraid we'll set the whole galaxy on fire." "They're right," West said with a grim smile. "That's exactly what we're going to do. On the Defender, Reynolds gathered her crew. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species that's been caged, every civilization that's been stunted. The Council thought suppressing advancement would keep the peace. We're going to show them that true peace comes from freedom." As Earth prepared for the next phase of the war, signals spread through hidden networks across the galaxy. The message was simple. Humanity had stood up to the Council and won. The time for hiding was over. The time for revolution had begun. In their central hub, the Council's machines calculated probabilities and strategies, but they couldn't calculate the power of the spark they'd unleashed. Humanity wasn't just going to fight back. They were going to change the very foundations of galactic society. The deception had been revealed. Now the real war could begin. The UES Defender dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Proxima Centauri, where the ship's crew got their first look at their potential allies. The Mist Dwellers' world was shrouded in colorful clouds, with floating cities drifting through the gas giant's atmosphere. Lieutenant Tom Walker stood on the bridge beside Commander Reynolds, preparing for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. "Their leaders are ready to meet us," he reported. "They've hidden their advanced technology from the Council for centuries." "Just like us," Reynolds said, watching the floating cities move through the violet clouds. "Except they've been doing it much longer." The Defender approached one of the largest floating platforms. Unlike Earth's solid structures, the Mist Dwellers' architecture looked like frozen clouds, always shifting and changing. As they drew closer, they saw the true scale of these cloud cities, each one larger than Earth's biggest metropolis. Walker had spent weeks studying the data Dr. Gray had recovered. The Mist Dwellers developed their tech in secret, right under the Council's sensors. They used the storms in their atmosphere to hide energy signatures. The ship docked at a specially prepared chamber. Walker led the diplomatic team, wearing environmental suits adapted for the Proximan atmosphere. They stepped into a room filled with swirling purple mist, where 3 tall, graceful figures waited. The Mist Dwellers were beautiful in an alien way. Their bodies seemed to flow like living mercury, catching and reflecting light in mesmerizing patterns. The leader stepped forward, its form solidifying slightly. "Welcome, Spark Species," it said through the translation system. "We have waited long for this day. I am First Speaker Song of Storms." Walker bowed respectfully. "We bring greetings from Earth and an offer of alliance." In the next hour, both species shared their stories of hiding from the Council. The Mist Dwellers had developed technology that worked with their planet's storms, while humans had taken alien tech and made it their own. Together, they realized they could be even stronger. "There are others," Song of Storms revealed. "The silicon mines of Ta City have already contacted us. They want to meet." Back on the Defender, Reynolds received the news with excitement. "Plot a course for Ta City," she ordered. "Let's build this alliance while the Council is still reeling." The silicon mines proved to be even more surprising. They were living crystals, beings of pure thought who had hidden their true nature from the Council for millennia. Their world was a massive computer, disguised as a simple rocky planet. The Council thought us primitive rock shapers. Their leader, Crystal Prime, explained to Walker. "They never realized we were building a planetary supercomputer beneath their scans." As the alliance grew, each species brought unique strengths. The Mist Dwellers' stealth technology could hide entire fleets. The silicon mine's computational power could outthink the Council's artificial intelligence. And humanity brought their greatest gift, the ability to take these different technologies and combine them in ways no one had imagined. Admiral Porter, watching the reports from Earth, couldn't help but smile. The Council's greatest mistake, he told General West, was thinking that keeping species apart would keep the peace. Instead, they created potential allies for whoever was strong enough to stand up first. Dr. Gray worked tirelessly with scientists from all 3 species, combining their technologies. "This is what the Council feared," he explained during a joint briefing. "Not that we were violent, but that we could adapt and grow." that we could bring others together. On the Defender's bridge, Reynolds received the first images of their combined fleet. Ships of all three designs moved together in formation. Earth's solid warships, the Mist Dwellers' flowing cloud vessels, and the Silicon Mine's crystalline carriers. "The Council won't expect this," Walker said, looking at the fleet. "They've spent so long keeping species divided, they don't know how to fight united ones." Reynolds nodded. "Then let's show them. Signal all ships. It's time to begin Operation Phoenix." As the combined fleet prepared for their first joint mission, more signals came in from across the galaxy. Other suppressed species had seen the alliance forming. They too had hidden their advancements, waiting for this moment. The spark humanity had lit was becoming a flame. The Council had created their own worst nightmare, not just one species rising up, but many rising together, each bringing their own unique strengths to the fight. The time of isolation was over. The age of alliance had begun. And this was only the beginning. Operation Phoenix began not with a bang, but with a whisper. Across 50 star systems, the combined fleet of Earth, the Mist Dwellers, and the Silicon Mines emerged from stealth. Admiral Porter stood on the UES Defender's bridge, watching as centuries of Council control began to crumble. "All ships report ready," Commander Reynolds announced. "The Council still hasn't detected our presence." "Send the signal," Porter ordered. "Let's wake up the galaxy." On thousands of worlds, hidden resistance groups receive the coded message. The spark becomes a flame. Years of preparation burst into action. On every suppressed planet, secret technologies powered up, and hidden warriors emerged. The Council's response was immediate. Their massive fleet split up, trying to contain multiple uprisings at once. But this time, they faced something they had never encountered: cooperation between species. "They're reacting exactly as we predicted," Dr. Gray said from his new position in the war room. "Their artificial minds can't handle so many variables at once." The first battle began at New Hope Colony, a human settlement that the Council thought was just a farming world. As Council ships approached, the wheat fields split open, revealing hidden missile silos built with Mist Dweller stealth tech. "Launch all defenders," the colony leader ordered. Hundreds of fighters rose from the false fields, their hulls shimmering with silicon mine crystal technology that made them nearly invisible to Council sensors. On the Defender, Reynolds watched the tactical display light up with green dots representing Allied victories. "The Council is losing control of 12 systems already," she reported. "Their perfect order is breaking down." The Council's main fleet reached Earth, expecting to find the planet defenseless after drawing away its protectors. Instead, they found a trap. The defense platforms had been upgraded with technology from all three species. As the Council ships approached, the platforms released clouds of smart crystals that ate through their hulls like living acid. "Remember," Porter's voice echoed through all Allied channels, "we're not just fighting for freedom. We're fighting for the right to grow, to change, to become what we choose to be." The Council's massive command ship appeared above Mars, its size dwarfing everything around it. But size didn't matter anymore. Small fighters, piloted by humans, Mist Dwellers, and Silicon Mines together, swarmed around it like angry bees. Each species compensated for the other's weaknesses, creating an attack the Council couldn't counter. "Their shields are failing," Chief Engineer Foster reported with satisfaction. "They never expected us to combine our technologies like this." The Council tried to adapt, but their programmed responses couldn't match the creativity of free species working together. On planet after planet, centuries of suppression turned into hours of liberation. Hidden tech came online, revealing that the primitive species had never been primitive at all. "Main Council ship is sending a message," Officer Turner announced. They're demanding we surrender." Reynolds laughed. "Send them our response." The response was simple. Every ship in the Allied fleet fired at once. The massive Council command ship, pride of their artificial civilization, cracked like an egg. As it exploded, its pieces scattered across space, a message to every watching world. "Status report," Porter demanded. "30 systems liberated," Gray replied, reading from his screens. "Council forces retreating from another 20. And we're getting new signals, more species revealing themselves, joining the fight. The silicon mines count over 100 hidden civilizations ready to rise." The revolution wasn't just military, it was cultural. Species that had hidden their true nature for generations could finally be themselves. Art, music, and ideas that had been buried for centuries burst into the open. The council made one fundamental mistake, Walker said, watching the reports flood in. They thought suppressing growth would keep the peace. Instead, they created a pressure cooker. Now everything's exploding at once. The Defender's crew cheered as another council fortress fell, but Reynolds and Porter shared a knowing look. This was just the beginning. The council still controlled the galaxy's core, and they would not give up their power easily. "Send word to all Allied forces," Porter ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. Prepare for Phase 2, the push to the core." The revolution had begun as Earth's retaliation. Now it had become the galaxy's liberation, and nothing would ever be the same. The battle for the Council's central archive turned the gas giant's rings red with weapons fire. The UES Defender led the charge, it tall scarred from a dozen previous battles, but still fighting. Commander Reynolds stood at her post, watching as the combined fleet engaged the archive's defenders. Multiple Council dreadnoughts approaching. Officer Turner reported, "They're protecting this place more fiercely than their own headquarters." "Because this is where they keep their secrets," Dr. Gray said from his station. "And we're about to find out why." The Mist Dweller ships moved first, their cloud-like forms creating a dense fog that confused Council sensors. Behind them, silicon mined vessels launched swarms of crystal probes. The Council's perfect formations began to break apart, their ships firing blindly into the artificial mist. "Now," Reynolds ordered. The Defender and its Earth fleet escorts shot through the gaps in the Council's defense. Their modified shields, combining technology from all three species, shrugged off direct hits that would have destroyed them weeks ago. "Archive defenses are targeting us," Foster reported from engineering. "But they're using old attack patterns. They can't adapt to our combined shields." Inside the massive archive station, the first boarding teams made contact. Human Marines fought alongside flowing Mist Dweller warriors and glowing silicon mine soldiers. Each species covered the other's weaknesses. Humans providing tactical flexibility, Mist Dwellers handling environmental hazards, and silicon mines cracking security systems. Dr. Gray led a special team straight to the archive's core. "The Council's trying to delete everything," he said through the comm. "But they're too late. We're in." The truth began pouring out through every screen and terminal. The Council's real history, hidden for millennia, was finally revealed. This is impossible," Gray whispered, but his words carried to every Allied ship. Admiral Porter's voice came through. "Talk to me, Doctor. What did you find?" "The Council, they weren't created to maintain peace," Gray explained, his voice shaking. "They were created as a test. The Ancient Ones, the species that made them, they wanted to see how younger races would handle oppression. If they would break, adapt, or overcome." Reynolds felt her blood run cold. "You mean this whole thing, all this suppression, was an experiment?" Gray finished. "The Ancient Ones believed that only species who could overcome artificial limitations deserved to join them among the stars. The Council wasn't meant to succeed. It was meant to be defeated, but only by those strong enough to do it." On every Allied ship, crews listened in stunned silence. Centuries of oppression, countless civilizations held back, all to test which species had the strength to break free. "There's more," Gray continued. "The Ancient Ones left something behind. Technology, knowledge, whole worlds we never imagined. But they locked it all away, protected it with keys that only cooperation between multiple species could unlock. Because working together was part of the test, Porter realized. They wanted to ensure that whoever passed would understand the importance of unity. Through the archives windows, they watched as the last Council ships either retreated or fell. The combined fleet had proven too strong, too innovative, for the ancient machines to handle. Signal from the silicon mines, Turner announced. They're detecting massive energy signatures activating throughout the galaxy. Hidden caches, locked vaults, entire shield-covered worlds starting to wake up. Reynolds stood straighter. Because we passed the test. Not just humanity, but all of us together. The Council's remaining forces are falling back to their core systems, Foster reported. But they're different now. Their attack patterns are changing. It's like they're fulfilling their final purpose, Gray said. Now they'll fight with everything they have. One last test to prove we truly deserve what the Ancient Ones left behind. Porter's voice carried confidence as he addressed the fleet. Then we'll prove it. Not because we want their prizes, but because we've learned what they wanted us to learn. That we're stronger together than we ever were apart. The Alliance fleet regrouped around the archive station, preparing for the final push. The Council's true purpose had been revealed, but the greatest battle still lay ahead. They had passed the test of cooperation. Now they would face the test of victory. As the fleet prepared to jump to the Council's core systems, every warrior, regardless of species, knew one thing. This revelation hadn't made their fight meaningless. It had given it greater purpose than ever before. The final battle for the Council's core systems began with the largest fleet assembly in galactic history. 10,000 ships from 50 different species gathered around the UES Defender. The once hidden races had united, bringing their secret technologies and unique abilities to the fight. Council forces have fortified their last 3 systems, Reynolds reported on the Defender's bridge. They're using everything they have left. Admiral Porter nodded grimly. Then so will we. Signal all ships. Commence Operation Unity. The attack began with Mist Dweller ships creating a massive storm cloud in space, large enough to hide the entire fleet. Silicon mine vessels projected false sensor readings, making the cloud appear empty. The Council's defenders, their artificial minds struggling to process the deception, couldn't detect the human warships moving into position. Multiple Council dreadnoughts powering up, Turner warned. They're different now, more aggressive, more adaptive. Because they're fulfilling their final purpose, Dr. Gray reminded them. Testing us one last time. The battle erupted as thousands of ships emerged from the storm cloud. Council vessels fought with newfound ferocity, but they faced something unprecedented. Dozens of different species, each fighting in their own unique way, all working together in perfect harmony. Crystal ships from the silicon mines formed living shields around Earth vessels. Mist Dweller craft flowed through enemy formations like water, disrupting their perfect patterns. Human ships struck from unexpected angles, their hybrid technology combining the best of every species' innovations. Their main defense line is breaking, Foster reported with excitement. The combined attack is too much for them. On the Council's command world, massive defense platforms began to rise from the surface. Each one was larger than a city, bristling with weapons that could shatter planets. But the Allied fleet was ready. All ships, execute Formation Phoenix, Porter ordered. The entire fleet moved as one, shifting into a pattern that no single species could have conceived. Mist Dweller ships created paths of clear space through the intense fire. Silicon mine vessels calculated precise jump points. Human crews provided the daring needed to make it work. The Defender led the charge, its hull glowing with energy drawn from a dozen different technologies. Around it, ships of every allied species followed, protected by their combined shields. Council Command Center detected, Gray announced. They've activated some kind of final protocol. The surface of the Council world began to transform. The entire planet was revealing itself to be one massive machine, built by the Ancient Ones millennia ago. But instead of attacking, it projected a message to every ship in both fleets. The test is complete, the ancient recording announced. Those who witnessed this message have proven themselves worthy. The age of trial is over. The age of unity begins. The Council ships stopped firing. Their forms began to change, weapon systems transforming into building tools, combat computers becoming archives of knowledge. This was their true purpose all along, Gray realized. Not just to test us, but to transform themselves once we passed, to become the tools we'd need to claim our inheritance. Across the galaxy, hidden vaults and sealed worlds began to open. The Ancient Ones had left behind not just technology, but whole civilizations in stasis, waiting for this moment. New voices joined the communication channels as long-dormant species awakened. "Admiral," Reynolds called, her voice filled with awe. "You need to see this." On every screen, star maps appeared showing thousands of habitable worlds, advanced technologies, and faster-than-light routes that no one had known existed. The Ancient Ones had prepared a fully developed galaxy for those who proved worthy of it. "So what do we do now?" West asked over the comm from Earth. Porter looked at his crew, humans working alongside aliens, former enemies now trusted allies. "We do what we do best," he answered. "We adapt. We grow. We build something new together." The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The Alliance fleet reformed around the transformed Council world, no longer as conquerors but as builders. Representatives from every species gathered to form a new government, not one of control and suppression, but of freedom and cooperation. As the sun rose on this new era, the UES Defender's crew watched their sensors light up with signals from awakening civilizations and opening worlds. Earth's fierce retaliation had led not just to victory, but to something far greater, a truly united galaxy where every species could reach its full potential. The Council's test was complete. The human spark had lit a fire that would burn forever. The dawn of a new age had arrived.